DA Bragg did the right thing by releasing illegal migrants charged with assaulting 2 New York City police officers violently.
That he is still receiving surveillance video and evidence, and he anticipates getting even more in the coming days.
I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City.
Have to be an economic expert or even a soothsayer to try to understand the financial uncertainty faced right now by the city and state of New York.
But in a court of law, and our profound obligation is to make sure we have the right people charged with the right crimes.
Attacking police officers. A police spokeswoman informed CNN that at least 7 persons have been arrested and charged with assaulting 2 New York City Police Department officers outside a migrant shelter on Saturday. According to authorities, at least 4 of those arrested had previously stayed in migrant shelters. Yorman Reveron, 24, Kelvin Servita Arocha, 19, Darwin Andreas Gomez Isquiel, 19, and Wilson Juarez, 21, were arrested on Saturday, according to the criminal complaint. Each is charged with second-degree attack and second-degree impending governmental administration. Yohan Boda, 22, was detained Monday and charged with second-degree assault and second-degree impending governmental administration, according to a complaint. Yohenry Brito, 24, was arrested Wednesday and arraigned Thursday on 2 counts of second-degree attack and 1 count of second-degree obstructing governmental administration, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office told CNN. A 21-year-old was arrested Wednesday on suspicion of robbery and felony attack, police said, but the DA on Thursday declined to charge him. CNN has reached out to attorneys for all those named and did not receive an immediate response. The case follows a surge in migrants arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border and as a knock-on effect in far-off major U.S. cities, where many have gone on their own or on buses hired by Texas. Some 67,000 migrants are under New York City's care, among more than 173,900 who've arrived in the city since spring 2022, a City Hall spokesperson told CNN on Thursday. The overwhelming number of immigrants, migrants, asylum seekers, they want to be here and do what's right. Those violent ones, we need to immediately have them removed from our city, New York City Mayor Eric Adams told La Mega 97.9 FM on Thursday. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement declined to comment. The incident happened as officers were attempting to break up a disorderly group outside the shelter near Times Square, and a physical altercation ensued, police said. When the officers tried to take a person into custody, multiple unidentified individuals repeatedly kicked and punched the officers in the head and body, and later fled on foot, police said. The officers had minor injuries and were treated on the scene, police said.
DA Bragg did the right thing by releasing illegal migrants charged with assaulting 2 New York City police officers violently.
Bragg himself, since that incident where we saw a group of men assault 2 members of the NYPD.
Criticism after 6 suspects accused in the attack on NYPD officers were released without bail.
But in a court of law, and our profound obligation is to make sure we have the right people charged with the right crimes.
While Brito was being apprehended, a struggle ensued with the officers, leading them to fall to the ground, according to a criminal complaint. Others then are accused of striking and kicking the officers, while Brito is accused of fleeing. Adams was asked during the radio interview about growing calls to deport those responsible for the attack, but he said the city does not have the authority to deport. I think it was disgusting and they should be held accountable, Adams said of the attack. We cannot allow people to abuse our symbol of authority. The police uniform is not only the individual, it is the symbol of authority and law and order, and this is not a city of disorder. We're going to be a city of order. Brito is being held on bail while the 5 others were released without bail, according to the district attorney, as police continue to investigate the attack. An assistant district attorney requested $15,000 bail or $50,000 bond for Brito, citing his alleged past interactions with law enforcement. For those released without bail, the district attorney consented to defendant release to allow us time to conduct a thorough analysis of the incident and defendant's role in it. According to a bail application for Boda that states the others were released without bail under similar requests. A Manhattan criminal court judge ordered them to be released on their own recognizance, meaning they were released from custody without paying bail and told to return to court while the case is pending.
the long arm of the law will find these individuals. They will be arrested.
That he is still receiving surveillance video and evidence, and he anticipates getting even more in the coming days.
Investigation is ongoing. Police are saying there could be as many as 14 people who were involved in that assault.
To prosecute the right people with the right charges, that's what we're doing here.
Suspects headed to California. The NYPD initially believed that 4 suspects in a case that fled to California based on information from a senior law enforcement official. This official had stated on February 1 that the suspects were en route to Calexico, California, after being given bus tickets by a faith-based charity. The tip came from an individual who claimed to have recognized the suspects from television and reported that they had received the tickets from the charity. However, subsequent investigations by both the NYPD and police in Calexico found no evidence supporting this claim. The address provided by the charity yielded no leads, and one of the individuals believed to have fled was actually arrested in New York City on separate charges. This arrest, coupled with the lack of evidence in Calexico, led law enforcement to conclude that the tip was likely a case of misidentification. The incident underscores the challenges law enforcement faces in tracking suspects across jurisdictions and highlights the importance of thorough investigation and verification of information before drawing conclusions.
While the video is shocking and disturbing, in order to secure convictions in a court of law,
He said they don't have any proof at this point that 4 of the illegal migrants have fled the state.
He says the reason why several of those men were released without bail was based on the evidence he had at that time.
Why are you beating cops up? What's wrong with you?
It also underscores the potential impact of misinformation or mistaken identity in criminal investigations. Released without bail. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office, under Alvin Bragg's leadership, faces scrutiny over its handling of a case involving an assault on police officers outside a migrant shelter. Despite facing felony charges with potential for up to 7 years in prison, the defendants were not held on bail, raising questions about Bragg's policies regarding pretrial detention. Bragg's approach aligns with New York's broader bail reform efforts, which aim to reduce pretrial detention, especially for nonviolent offenses. In 2020, the state implemented reforms limiting judges' ability to set bail, aiming to address disparities in the justice system. However, critics argue that such reforms may endanger communities by allowing potentially dangerous individuals to be released pending trial. Bragg took a step further by instructing his prosecutors to refrain from seeking bail even in cases where it's legally permissible. His memo highlighted a presumption of pretrial non-incarceration except in cases involving homicide, weapons, or serious physical injury. This policy shift reflects a commitment to reducing the use of pretrial detention, prioritizing alternatives like supervised release. In the attack case, despite facing serious charges and lacking strong community ties, the defendants were not held on bail. Bragg defended this decision, emphasizing the need for conclusive evidence to secure convictions. He emphasized the importance of identifying each defendant and clarifying their role in the incident before pursuing incarceration. The decision to release the suspects without bail underscores Bragg's emphasis on fairness and due process. However, it also raises concerns about public safety and accountability, especially given the severity of the charges and the potential risk posed by the defendant's release. Additionally, the case intersects with immigration policy, as convictions on felony charges could lead to deportation under New York's sanctuary bill.
I watched the tape this week. Despicable behavior. It sickened me and outraged me.
I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City.
T.A. Bragg, why did you not ask for bail? Why didn't you ask for bail for these migrants?
One priority is protecting the people of this state, and anytime there's an assault on a police officer, which is a very serious offense.
This adds another layer of complexity to the investigation and underscores the broader implications of criminal justice decisions. As the investigation continues, Bragg's office urges anyone with information to come forward. Despite the decision not to hold the suspects on bail, the legal process will proceed, with the defendants expected back in court. Failure to appear could result in arrest warrants being issued, highlighting the ongoing efforts to ensure accountability while balancing concerns of fairness and public safety. $2.4 billion, not enough. Mayor Eric Adams of New York City has expressed his support for the state in covering the costs of caring for migrants, stating that the state would need to contribute at least half of the cost to prevent drastic budget cuts. He stated that the city is the economic engine of the state and needs the state to be present for the city. The governor had hoped to divide the cost of sheltering migrants equally among the city, state, and federal governments, but federal officials refused to commit to this arrangement, leaving the city to press the state for more funds.
You have to be an economic expert or even a soothsayer to try to understand the financial uncertainty faced right now by the city and state of New York.
As you know, the city's already been spending millions of dollars to care for the influx of migrants that have entered the city.
Albany today with a simple message for Governor Hochul and state lawmakers. New York City needs more money or else.
Adams also used his trip to Albany, known as Tin Cup Day, to meet with legislative leaders and Governor Kathy Hochul. He pressed lawmakers for mayoral control of schools, the authority to address illegal cannabis vendors, and an expansion of the city's borrowing power. New York legalized recreational marijuana use in 2021 to lift up communities of color who had been disproportionately victimized by the war on drugs. However, licenses to sell cannabis have been slow in coming, allowing unlicensed vendors to proliferate. Last month, Governor Hochul called the rollout a disaster and proposed measures that would allow the state and localities to clamp down on illegal vendors. Adams supports the proposal but believes it could go farther. Adams found a broadly sympathetic audience this year, fielding compliments from both sides of the aisle for different aspects of his handling of the migrant crisis. His popularity has waned amid local and federal investigations into his fundraising practices. Mr. Adams, a former state senator, has framed his track record in Albany as largely victorious, citing the approval of red light cameras, a favorable deal on Metropolitan Transportation Authority funding, and 2 amendments to the state's bail laws as evidence of his strong relationship with the legislature. That's all for this video, folks. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.